It's the Real Estate Show. Welcome to the Real Estate Show. My name is Rick Naples. Well, we are at summertime. It's a time when the kids are out of school. We're looking forward to our vacation times with family. Some of us are taking what they call stay vacations, where we're staying at home, and others are looking and making their plans to go away. It's also a time to do those many little projects that maybe we haven't had a chance to get to because of our busy schedules. So if you're staying at home and not going away, you might take the time off to do those projects and catch up on things. This show, we're going to talk about the use of color. One of the questions that comes around all the time is you take a look around the house and you think to yourself, well, maybe it's time to freshen up some things. It could be transplanting a few plants or trees or whatever around the yard. But it also could be taking a look at those things that may have gotten a little bit dull in color because of the harsh winter. In other words, it could be a time to freshen up your colors, maybe a time to paint. And whenever we think about painting something, not only do we have to decide how much paint do we need in order to accomplish the project, but we also have to make that decision on whether or not we want to refresh the color that's already there or change the color to something else. So on this show, we're going to take a look at colors. How do colors affect us? How do they affect our mood? How do they affect us emotionally? How do they affect our environment? What colors to use to get the certain kinds of feelings that you'd like to get out of a room or out of an area? Colors, the psychology of color, when we come back on the Real Estate Show. There are several different types of colors. Obviously, there's many of them in our lives, of all different kinds of shades and hues and tints and whatever that are out there. And trying to get the right colors to use in your landscaping or when you're painting sometimes can be a very difficult decision because you want to get that right kind of a feel. Now, we all know the four primary colors, and I'll read them to you. Red, blue, yellow, and green. From those four colors, you can make any combination of other colors. And each time you make a combination, it's going to set a different type of feeling or a different type of mood. Let's take a look at a presentation that I put together on how to use color in order to accomplish certain goals of appeal when your house is on the market and you want to appeal to buyers that are coming to take a look at it. There are many articles that you can find on the internet that talk about the use of color or combinations of colors to get certain moods or feelings when you're repainting a room. But there's also the use of color outside of the house, on how you can complement the different landscapings that you have out there, or maybe pick up colors that you have in your plantings around the home. And each color has a certain psychological property to it. As I said, there are many articles that are out there. One of the articles that I happen to pull talks about how each color affects us emotionally. An example here. Yellow is an extremely emotional color, and they define here in this article that yellow gives you a sense of optimism. It gives you a sense of confidence. Yellow is a good color to have around when you're in a learning environment. We just recently at my association acquired a classroom where we're going to be doing classes, and we've painted the classroom with yellow walls to try and give a feeling of a creative learning environment. Now, I'm not talking about bright yellows. These are more subdued yellows in this case. Another thing that it talks about is the color of green. Green is a very universal color. It's one of the primary colors, and green gives you a sense of balance. I mean, where would we be without our green lawns, correct? Let's take a look at a presentation that analyzes the psychological properties of each color, and I'll be back right after. As a realtor, I've had an opportunity to go into a lot of different homes, and I'm sure you have when you're out there looking at a house to potentially buy. You walk into someone's house, whether it be a relative's house, a friend's house, or a house that you're going to with a realtor, on a showing, and you walk into the room and you look at the colors that are around the room or the colors of the walls, and you have that immediate reaction of, what were they thinking? I've had that several times. Sometimes people go a little bit overboard. They'll paint a color of a room very bright, hoping to make it look lively, and then they'll use furniture that clashes with the paint that's on the walls. Other people have paint on the walls that have been there for a long time. The paint has gotten dull. You can actually see some of the dirt streaks in the paint just from years of cooking or years of just wear and tear of living in the home, and it's time to freshen those walls. And other people have done a very good job in painting the interior of their homes to pick up on their specific personalized taste or the furniture that they have in the home, or maybe the collections that they have in the home. Now, that's a good thing for them, but it may not be a good thing for a potential buyer coming in, because once all that stuff is taken out of the room, what's left is the color on the walls, and that color may not go with the decor of the buyer that's looking to move into the house. So you have to give a lot of considerations as to what you're going to do when it comes time to repaint the home. Do you want to change your colors, or do you want to keep the colors the same? Some of the basics that are recommended in a lot of the articles when it comes to choosing colors is to pick an accent point within the home that you can emphasize, that you can draw attention to. We've seen a lot of use over the years of people using what's called an accent wall, where they'll paint a contrasting color on just one wall of a room to give the room a lengthier look, or to accent a fireplace, or to accent a piece of architecture that's within the house. We've also seen some cases where, at least I've seen in some of the houses, where people have done the trick of taking the white ceiling paint that's traditionally used and mixing in just a little bit of color of what's on the walls. This tends to make the room feel more together. It tends to bring the room closer and make it feel more comfortable when you do something like that. But you have to be very careful. I walked into one house at one time, and they had painted everything the same color, including the ceiling the exact same color of the walls. Not to everyone's taste, but I have seen it done before. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but the idea is to try and make your home look as appealing as possible, to look as clean as possible, especially if you're putting your home up for sale. Let's sit back and enjoy what I call a motivational moment, or motivational thoughts. These are some of the quotes that I found that kind of keep me in a positive mood, and I thought I'd share some with you. Color is all around us. It's in our lives and everything that we do. And not only just colors of paints, colors of landscaping, colors of the sky, the ground, the trees, and so on and so forth. But color is actually in our vocabulary. We use color to describe situations or to describe moods that we're in. So I put together this fun little presentation, which basically is some of the color sayings that have been used over the years to describe our moods. Let's sit back and take a look. If anybody has ever taken time to study colors or what specific colors mean, one of the interesting things is what we call colors. There aren't actually colors, and those are black and white. Black is a color, but it's actually a combination of all the colors of the spectrum. If you put everything together, you're going to get black. White, on the other hand, is a color which is the opposite end of the spectrum. It's devoid of all colors. It actually is something that's fooling the eye because you can't really see any colors within the spectrum when you're looking at white. And black and white are perfect opposites of each other. And I've seen black and white used in numbers of different combinations in order to accent certain things. I will say that if you do decide to use white, you have to be very careful because white is very bright, it's very outstanding, it shows everything. So if you do choose for one reason or another to use pure white on anything, make sure that you're using it not so much as a wide space, but maybe as an accent point. We see a lot of white now that's being used in trim around doors and around windows to accent those openings and also offset or border the colors that are on the walls. Let's sit back and look at this next presentation, and I'll be back with the real estate mailbag. This is the portion of the real estate show I call the real estate mailbag. It's my opportunity to address questions that are sent to us here at the real estate show, asked to me by fellow realtors, clients, or even people when I'm out and about in the public. The question that came in this email is choosing colors. How can I decide what actually to use? Give me some kind of a guideline. Well, as I said, colors run a full spectrum. I've always personally gone out to one of the local home improvement stores and pulled those color cards and looked at the spectrums of colors, the types of things I'd like to use in a room to get a sense of what the color is going to look at. And there are even some programs that are out there which allow you to actually look at your room and add color to the room without actually having to do anything to it. And again, you can talk to your home improvement stores as far as those types of programs. There's even some stuff available on the internet which allows you to do some pretty creative things when it comes to looking at the color spectrum for certain rooms. The guidelines that I always go by is you want to pick some kind of accent point in the room. Whether it's going to be the carpet that's on the floor, whether it's an architectural feature, whether it's the brick or the stone in the fireplace, use those things that are already there as a hint as to what to use for colors to accent and complement those already existing things. My name is Rick Naples. This has been The Real Estate Show. I thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.